Mehdi Hasan was recently interviewing Representative Dan Crenshaw, someone who can't stand immigration and felt the need to lie to the American people in multiple conservative news interviews about what the Biden administration is doing in response to the uptick in migration at the southern border. Now, Mehdi Hasan starts this clip by sharing a very important piece of information to Dan Crenshaw, and just get a load of how he doesn't really want to acknowledge it.
You made these claims on Fox News last week. Have a listen.
This happened overnight, okay, when President Biden rescinded the Remain in Mexico policy, when they rescinded the asylum cooperation agreements with the Northern Triangle countries, when they said, hey, we're not going to deport you when you come. So Biden has the nerve to say quietly, hey, don't come, wink, don't come here, don't come here. If you come here, we're going to give you a bus ticket wherever you want, and we're not going to deport you.
I'll come back to your Remain in Mexico and asylum cooperation agreement points in a moment. But the rest of that, Congressman, is just not true. How can you say the Biden administration isn't deporting people? Last month, nearly 3 out of 4 people encountered at the border were expelled straight away under Title 42. 72% of people encountered at the border last month, apprehended, were instantly expelled. So how is what you said on Fox true? It isn't.
Look, over the course of 2020, 1,000 people came illegally into the U.S. and then were released in the interior of the U.S. And in just the year 2021, it's 20,000. Right, this comes straight out of Border Patrol. I was just down there a couple of weeks ago. So again, there are very specific instances of policy reversals that have caused a massive spike in illegal immigration and people incentivized to come across our border. I'm not sure why we're debating that point. I think we should debate what to do about it.
I'm wondering why you went on Fox and say people are not being deported when 72% of the people apprehended at the border last month were deported under Joe Biden. Can you deal with that point?
Like you just played what I said. I never said nobody was getting deported. And so look, our system works fairly well. You just played what I said, and I know I didn't say that.
I want to be clear in that what Crenshaw and the right wing are putting out there is this notion that there's been an uptick in migrants coming to the border under the Biden administration specifically, because he's the one giving them a wink and a nod, essentially indicating that he has the border open and ready for them, when that is not the case. In fact, in that same interview, Mehdi Hasan read some statistics coming from Customs and Border Patrol, indicating that there's been an increase in migrants coming to the border for the last 9 months, meaning that this trend was happening under the Trump administration. So to say that Biden has created a situation in which he has done away with deterrence and is encouraging people to come at the border is just flat out false.
So let me break it down in 2 different categories. So there's the families that are coming. They are treated exactly the same way under Biden and Trump. They're both using Title 42. They expel them immediately because of COVID concerns. They do not go through the regular process they used to, okay? That's been in place for over a year now, and Biden is doing the same exact thing with Trump. With grown adults, same exact policy. Title 42, Biden and Trump, absolutely equal. That is why Mehdi Hasan's numbers are correct. 72,000 people have been expelled without any process at all. The left should arguably be furious about that, but there hasn't been much of a peep from progressive legislators on that, from what I've seen. Maybe I'm being unfair there. If they're saying it, they're certainly not being picked up by the press. Now, the thing that appears to be different, but is not exactly different, is unaccompanied minors. Now, it was Trump's policy that he wanted to expel them as well. He didn't want to let them in the country. It was Biden's agenda that they would be let into the country and go through regular process because they didn't want to send kids by themselves back through that treacherous path back to their homes where they could die and be in danger. But the reality is that the courts ruled that the kids must be let in. So Trump started letting them in before his term was over. So he was expelling more than 3,000 kids in October, but then it became nearly nothing by December and January. So only 3 in December, for example. So now in Biden's case, he's at similar numbers to Trump. He's just following the same court order that Trump was. So when Crenshaw says, oh my God, I can't believe what Biden decided to do. No, the courts decided it. Trump followed that order, which is good. And Biden is also following the same order. So let's be clear about who made the decision and how that played out. Now, because the court ordered it, at this point in February, for example, there was 9,400 times that unaccompanied children were met at the border. So that is a higher number than it used to be over the last year. Now you could say, hey, I actually think the right wing has a slight point here, that it's because the coyotes will then go back and tell everybody, oh my God, right or wrong, Biden is letting everybody in or whatever it is because they want to get more business. They'll bring kids. But remember, they would have said that about the court order anyway, because Trump had to do the same exact thing and did do the same exact thing in the last several months of his administration. So, and even then, so 9,400 sounds like a lot more than it used to be. And yes, over the last years it is, but the last time it was that number was in May of 2019. So about 2 years ago when it was under Trump. So is there some like, oh my God, deluge of unaccompanied minors like no one's ever seen? Well, if you have short-term memory loss, I guess that's true. Otherwise, you just look back to May of 2019 and it's the same number.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.